Well, wouldn't be me if I didn't start out with welcoming Jonathan Smith. I chance to have dinner with him and his wife last night, and I think he's very excited to be here. I think you'll enjoy him. I think he's come up a funny way too as a player and coach and GA and all the stuff that is good about things, and I think he's going to be an excellent addition. As far as our team, it's hard to say where we are because if I looked at all the stats, I'd feel really good about us, from turnovers to assists to steals to block shots to number of shots we're getting, which is the most we've had in my era. And if I'd feel bad about us, it's the shooting is still an issue, getting better. Costly turnovers, not a lot of them, but costly ones, and just kind of getting our best players to play their best. I think that is a big thing. Looked at a lot of film on the 3.5-hour ride home from there, and a lot of film on Friday, a lot of film on Saturday, and and I don't think we're that far off from being a very good team. But if you don't shoot it better, that covers up a lot of evils. The problem is the evils that normally you're covering up are some of our strengths, and the shooting, which, as I went back the last 7 years, I think 1 year we were under 35% from the three, and probably 3 or 4 years we were over 40. So this is an anomaly that I think will change, and when it does, I think we'll take another step. As far as Georgia Southern, Charlie Henry's their coach. His dad coached in the state. He's been in the state. He's been up to our place many a times. He was at Alabama. Good guy, good coach. Several new faces, which is the norm for this day and age. And I think they're playing 12 or 13 players, and they have Eugene Brown, who's a good player from Ohio State that transferred there, has been hurt, I guess, and we don't know if he'll play, but he hasn't played yet. So they're a team that shoots 33 threes a game. The ball goes up a lot, and it goes up from all over, and they've got a number of guys who can shoot threes. So concerning, because anytime a team shoots 33 threes, they haven't won a game. I can't believe that after looking at their talent. And how many guys they got that can shoot the ball. I guess defense has been a little bit of a struggle, and hopefully that'll help us in a little ways. Their best two players to me are Dean and a kid named Franklin, but they've had a couple guys sitting out for whatever reasons. So I don't know what we're going to get or who we're going to get, if I was to be very honest with you, other than Franklin and Dean, who both are averaging 12 or 13 points, but everybody's averaging that because anywhere from 8 to 12 because of the number of guys they play and number of minutes. So questions?
Go ahead.
Do you see some similarities between the two, your team and Georgia Southern, in the sense that you guys are both looking for like that win to kind of hang your hat on?
Well, I hope I don't see similarities. I think the similarities are really completely opposite. They've been really good, or haven't shot the ball really well, but they have a lot of three-point shooters. We haven't shot the ball real well. We've been very good defensively. They have not been very good defensively. Everybody's looking for wins nowadays. Everybody's looking for wins. But I look at the teams we played, and I still say if you make anything in that first game, you win that, you're 4-2, and you're feeling a little better about yourself. But I am encouraged by some things that have happened. We have played more minutes of good basketball. It's the minutes we don't play good basketball has really been costly. I don't think there's any question that one other issue we had the other day, excuse or not excuse, Tyson Walker was, very poor job on my part with Tyson in that game. He was dead, didn't realize it. So I'm blaming trainers, I'm blaming myself, I'm blaming my staff, but I am blaming myself on that. After the game, he got back here. His weight went down to 169 pounds, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, he was up to 183, and so that, from the illness and everything, he was not himself in that game, not nearly as good defensively. And so I think that had a lot to do with it, too, and that falls on me more than it falls on him. But big win. I think we need a win. We need to play better. We need Jaden and AJ to play better. Your best players got to play well. We need our best players to play well. We need to get Malik more involved. He's playing really well. He did a good job in a lot of ways. But we need to get him a little bit more involved in the offense, too.
Tom, this is your only game, I think, in 11 days, I think it is, between Arizona and then Big Ten play. How can you kind of use this time? Can you focus on yourself a little bit more?
Yeah, this is a very important time. I'm mad at a lot of people when you go through this. I don't think our scheduling's been great either, and how we've done it and what we've done. We got caught a little bit, and, for a couple of reasons. And but we got some strange games. I mean, this is a different game. Indiana State's a pretty good team, Oakland, we all know, is a good team. So you do need some games where, like 90% of these teams are getting where nothing wrong with playing a tough schedule, but then the other part of it's got to be, when you have time in between. We didn't have any time between, I think it was Butler and Elkhorn, and then the Southern, we didn't have much time either. And so this is good. We'll get some time. Now, next week we get some time, but it's finals week, so that's a little bit distorted. But right now, this has been good. We had Friday off. We had Saturday, Sunday today, and then we'll play. And then we get a week off to hopefully get Michigan State better and to get healthy. I mean, Tyson didn't practice Saturday, did practice yesterday. He's gained some weight back, but that was a tough situation on him, and one that I don't think we handled very well.
Wondering about the slow starts, because that's obviously been something that, since the exhibition game with Tennessee has been an issue. Have you identified kind of what that might be? And is that, with a veteran group, is it better to, the second half, the way they came back, you don't want to do that often, but that they've shown that ability?
Yeah, I think they show that ability because I think we got a really good team. The really good team hasn't shot the ball very well. I can't even look at turnovers. We're averaging probably less turnovers than we have in my era. And we had 9 the other day, but the turnovers led to 2 threes, and layups. That was the killer in that game, is what do they lead to? Are they live ball, dead ball? But I'm pleased with that. Hey, listen, AJ is a good player. He's got to play good, and Jaden was one of my best players at the end of last year, and he's really struggled from the 3, and I think it's affected a lot of his game. He's only been to the free throw line 6 times, and yet we're usually a team that doesn't get there as much as our opponents. We're almost even, and that includes the 30-10 Duke thing. So there's a lot of things we're doing better, which just the Doug Herner rule. When you don't make shots, it makes everything look evil. But the starts, I'm going to try to rectify that. We're going to, see what we can do. That has been a point of emphasis. It's been talked about. It's been, we've wrestled with it a little bit, but that is a problem. You can't start out 17-1. The other day it was 23-10. Duke was a little better, but then they went on that stretch run right before the half to take a 1-point game to 10 or 11, whatever it was. Those are the stretches that a veteran crew shouldn't do, but it's partially because we're missing shots and partially because our best players got to play well. It's the way it is.
Is that something that can iron out over the course of the season? Would have been, you know what I'm saying, like the second half, the ability to kind of rally back.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Finishing strong.
it can because they've already done it before. I mean, like I said, I think one time in the last 6 years we shot less than 35% from the three. We're shooting 26. I mean, right now Cooper has taken a few less, but he's shooting the ball from the line better than Tyson. I mean, I can't look at that and say, man, that guy's doing a bad job. I mean, nobody's trying to miss a free throw, and nobody that is a good free throw shooter throughout his whole high school and college career should be in that position. It is, and as we know in that first game of the year, 3 of them were front ends of 1-and-1s, and it's the difference between winning by 8 and losing by 1, and so we're working on it. We're spending time on it, but that old adage, the more you harp on it, is that helping or hurting? But the encouraging thing is we have come back in every game. We have been right there knocking on the door. We have played the number 2, 3, 5, 17 team in the country. So I say that, what last night and this morning was about for me was I went back and looked at all 3 losses. And the other day I looked at the Tennessee game. And what I see in those 3 losses is the shooting in those stretches. And we just got to do a better job of that. There's encouraging things, discouraging.
Tom, you mentioned Jaden a couple of times. What do you think what does he need to do to sort of get on track? Is there anything you guys can do to help him? Is this a game that you look at to try to spark that a little bit based off coming off of his second half against Arizona? And what do you
I'm anxious for you guys to watch this team warm up because, I think we're talking like, you should just go out and blow them out. And, I don't totally disagree with you if I looked at their record and this and that. But, most of these teams come in, they're small. These guys are 6'11", 6'10", 6'8", 6'7". They have really good wing guards. So it is concerning. What Jaden's got to do is not let his offense dictate his defense, and he's got to shoot it better. He's had shots. Somebody would ask. I thought in the last game Tyson took a few bad shots. And he took a few bad shots because nobody else was making them, and we put him in that position. And then he was just worn out. If you watch that film, it was 4 minutes into the game, and he looked bad. And he didn't say nothing, and I didn't think we did a very good job of figuring it out. But other than that, I don't mind the shots we've taken. I love the fact we're getting 61 instead of 52 from last year, and we're not even offensive rebounding really well. So there are a million pluses. There's just the 2 negatives. The best players playing well and making some shots rear its ugly head.
It's my understanding that you're on the search committee for a couple of things. I know one was the football head coach, Mr. Jonathan Smith, also as well as the university presidential search. Can you kind of detail your thoughts on Mr. Jonathan Smith, and then also kind of where things stand in search in terms of the university presidential search?
Well, I was on both, I guess, but I'm during season, so I'm not as involved with things. In Jonathan Smith, that was a decision Alan made that I think is going to be a very good decision. I have been impressed. Did not know him that well. Talked to him one time. I have been impressed and very impressed last night, getting a chance to sit down face to face for an hour and a half. I just think he brings maybe who we are. He's kind of a blue collar attitude too, and has developed players, and has kind of been the program that nobody respected as much with Oregon right down the road, and figured out a way on how to handle that and deal with it. And so his personality and everything is great. as far as the presidential, we're supposedly down to a couple candidates, and from what I've seen, I like the candidates, and we'll see who they pick. That's their selection. I'm out of that now, but very important to me. But I was in the committee that got it down to 5, and then it goes to the board. So hopefully, I think our board is. There's no secrets. It's been crazy and a little bit embarrassing. But at the same time, I think when you go through something like that, everybody kind of figures out, hey, we got to start doing what's best for the university, and I think that's where our board's at. I think that's going to really come together, and maybe get a president, football coach. We can start getting this train back on the tracks, and when it does, I think it's going to be very exciting for all of us with some of the other sports doing so well, like, our women's basketball's doing well, our women's soccer's done so well, and Adam's done a hell of a job over there in hockey. And so, you know what? There are brighter days coming up. It's been a little bit of a rough go, but there's brighter days coming up. I really believe that.
Tom, Xavier Booker, what would you like to see his freshman year track look like from where it is now to what, and how much is realistic in terms of development within a season?
I think this is the hard thing too, because you want to play some guys and you want to get some guys ready, but you can't play 11, 12 guys, and we all know that. You could play 8, 9, maybe 10 in certain situations, but Book had his best practice yesterday, and I've spent a lot of time with him, spent time with his parents. It's the motor thing it's just got to be cranked up. Yes, he's not the strongest guy, but there's been other guys that aren't strong that have made it. And I think he sees it. The good news is I think he understands it. Now, what to do about it, that's something else. And but yesterday, I called him up the night before and said, the honeymoon's over as far as trying to delicately get you where you got to get. And last night I called him and I said, well, it wasn't as easy or fun today, but I thought you got a lot more done. And that's just the stages these kids go through. But if you look at the freshmen, we were laughing today. There was a 10-star guy that's playing for a school in the Pac, or in the Big 12, that played 2 minutes last night, and he's averaging about 3 a game. And there's one guy in the Big 10 that was in the same boat, averaging about 3 minutes a game. Freshmen just aren't playing as much, and freshmen that aren't ready because of physical matters struggle even more because of the 22, 3, and 4-year-olds that they're playing against. So it's been a little bit of a struggle, but what do I see his path? I see him getting better, hopefully working harder, and realizing that at this level, and he's got a lot of help. He doesn't know how good he has it. Those upperclassmen have embraced him because he's a good kid. They've embraced him like no tomorrow. Malik and Mahdi have really tried to help him. And the freshmen, Jeremy is someday going to be a great leader. And he has really tried to help Book out. And so he's got a lot of people working with him. He's got better a little bit yesterday. He's not ready yet. But he, and I guess what we do, and this is what my staff said today, as soon as you struggle a little bit, and I don't know if, like I said, what would we be saying if we beat GMU? And we probably played better against them than we did some of the other games. But what would we be saying if we're 4-2 and lose to Duke and Arizona? I don't think anybody'd be panicking. So I still say we can't look to our freshmen. Our team is good because our veterans are good, and they are good, and they're battle tested, and they've done it before. And right now, they're not getting it done. And maybe the same should be said for the coach. So maybe Izzo and two of my upperclassmen need to do a better job, and that's kind of what we're going to really focus on, especially in this time where we get some time to work on Michigan State. I said all along, tough schedules mean you see warts. Nobody wants to have them, and when you do have them, you have to fix them and get rid of them, and that's what we're trying to do, to be honest with you. So his progression, it would have been nice. He's a guy that it would have been nice to play, 3-4 games early that you could afford to play guys in, maybe not just one game here and one game here, but on a consistent basis. And so all those things I'm, going to have to look at now as these things have changed and see what I want to do scheduling-wise, not changing the good teams we play, but just maybe how we set them in there, if that makes any sense.
Anything else?
Well, enjoy Jonathan. I think he's on at 12:30 on BTN, so turn on the TVs, let them enjoy themselves. Thanks a lot.